representing the City of Clearwater, Josh Schulman, has jury duty today and will not be able to join us. So let's go around the room and introduce the other PSA members, starting on my right.
Jeff Gow, representing the great city of Dunedin.
What's your name?
Oh, my name is Brad Miller. I'm the
He's new here.
Vince Cox, Pinellas County.
Deborah Big Sanders, St. Petersburg City Council.
Patty Reed, Vice Mayor, City Pinellas Park.
Thank you. Okay, it's time for public comment. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. Are the members, okay. So we'll go on to action items. The first one is approve the January 17th, 2024 minutes.
I'll move to approve the 2024 minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. The next one is elect committee chair and vice chair. You know, I'm going to defer this to next month because Josh isn't here. So we'll put that aside and do that later. Okay, 3C, Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan.
You're trying to say his last name?
I'm gonna, Theo Bacamilli.
Backley-Hallis.
Okay.
Good morning, I'm Theo Backley-Hallis, the Director of Safety, Security, and Training here at PSTA. And today I'm here seeking your approval for our 2024 updates to our Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. So, the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, also known as PTASP, has been mandated by the federal government since 2020. And here at PSTA, we've been successful in maintaining a PTASP that has met the scrutiny of the FTA and met all standards. We are mandated every year to achieve and have an annual sign-off and acknowledgement by our board of directors and our CEO on our updates. The FTA does conduct oversight and pretty much audits every agency that receives federal funding to make sure that we are accountable in meeting all of the PTASP requirements. PTASP is a plan that promotes transit system safety through a safety management system, or SMS, and it is basically risk and performance-based, staying flexible and scalable, of course. The basic components of our PTASP are a safety management policy that incorporates safety risk management, safety assurance, and promotes safety throughout the organization at all levels. The process does require an agency safety plan, an SMS or safety management system, and then it's all incorporated in the PTASP, or the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan document, which is what we're here to approve. The PTASP must address all requirements set forth by the federal government and the FTA, and must specify a chief executive officer, Mr. Brad Miller, a chief safety officer, Mr. James Bradford, and be approved by the board of directors every year. This year, our updates don't have any significant changes. We updated staff positions, organizational charts, reference dates, schedules, basically updated our operational statistics, our system map, and vehicle stock. We also updated our safety committee structure and safety promotional indicators, which are just numbers and statistics of the year. So in summary, I'd like to seek your approval and recommend and request your approval to go forth with our 2024 PTASP updates.
Okay, thank you. We didn't have any questions from the public on this, do we? Okay, any questions from committee members? Move approval?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, very good, thank you, Theo.
Thanks.
Informational items, premium transit corridor evaluation. Finally, to request of PSA board members, Heather Sobush, Director of Planning, will provide information regarding all the plans. Many are not led by PSTA for future rapid transit corridors. Heather?
Good morning. So we just wanted to give you just a summary of how we go about planning for and implementing premium transit projects here in the county. So these projects, I have Sunrunner here as an example, due to take quite a long time from conception to implementation. We've been looking at the Sunrunner corridor for over 19 years, and of course finally implemented the service in 2022 with much success. There were many decisions made along the way by multiple entities, including PSTA, or Pinellas, FDOT, the Federal Transit Administration, to get us to where we are today. So many agencies conduct transit planning or transportation planning in all of the major corridors in Pinellas County. This map here you see to the right is Ford Pinellas's investment corridor. It's part of a strategy to look at redevelopment along some of these major corridors, and then how can premium transit support that redevelopment. So here you'll see a number of studies and corridors that have had many studies on them. US 19, T-BART has looked at express service from Pasco County to the Gateway area. The Skyway Marina District in their master plan had premium transit included as a strategy for that area. And then what we've heard a lot about lately is 34th Street South. FDOT is conducting a resurfacing project. And more than 5 years ago, when they began looking at designing a resurfacing project, they came to PSTA, Fort Pinellas, the city of St. Pete, and they do this with all of their resurfacing projects. They go to the locals and they ask, is there anything we might be able to include within our resurfacing project, such as sidewalks, improved sidewalks, bike ped safety issues, or transit? For this project, they are planning to implement the red bat lane for a 5-mile section of 34th Street South. I do want to emphasize that PSTA's plan is to provide incremental increases in service in this corridor, starting with a premium overlay service in the peak hours. But PSTA can operate service with or without the bat lane. And then for I-275, T-BARTA had a study called the Regional Rapid Transit, looking at premium transit from Pinellas to Pasco County using the express lanes on the interstate that are being constructed. We've talked about all 19. PSTA is carrying forward with a new study looking at premium transit to support Fort Pinellas' redevelopment vision. And then for the State Road 60 corridor, there's been a lot of evaluation over the years of how do we get people from Clearwater Beach to Tampa International Airport. So we've done some express service planning. FDOT evaluated putting a busway on the causeway at one point, but that wasn't at the time supported by the city, so that did not move forward. So I just wanted to summarize kind of all the work that goes into these projects, and that there's public outreach along the way with all of them.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
If we go back to that.
Yeah.
On the I-275 express lane premium transit, is there any activity happening with that you know of?
Well, as part of the whole big Gateway Expressway project, and then the I-275 express lanes that are going to go over the Howard Franklin Bridge, I believe those are all part of the construction that's going on right now. And then the idea would be when it opens, which is not expected to be, I don't think, until like 2029, that we would be able to operate our express buses in those express
Yeah,
lanes.
because there's a lot, right now on 275, if you just get north of the interchange, going up to like Wesley Chapel and all that, there's a lot of work that goes on there right now. And I'm sure this is hopefully being integrated.
Yeah, I know there's a big West Shore interchange project that Pinellas has supported because, of course, it's really important for the region. So yeah, the idea is to have some kind of express bus service that can utilize the whole
Well, we take that road a lot, and the typical backup comes down from Wesley Chapel down to the I-4 interchange,
Right.
which gets all backed up, and hopefully that's been looked at to improve.
Well, I mean, as you know, there is a plan to totally redo that whole interchange there. And I know that FDOT is looking at it carefully and managing that, and the latest I heard was they were going to do that in incremental steps. I don't know exactly what that means, but maybe that's what you're seeing out there.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
good. Just so it hadn't been abandoned, like the thing going to Clearwater Beach. It's been abandoned, canceled. We're, Highway 60.
That was canceled, yes.
Yes.
It's canceled. Right.
We would love to have a busway. There's a lot of buses going in that corridor, but yeah, doesn't support it.
Thanks, Heather.
Chair, may I?
Yes.
Back to the canceled service from Clearwater Beach. Did they offer any alternatives, or do we know what the solution might be for that? I know they've also talked about gondolas out to the beach. Right? Most of our tourists are coming by car because we don't offer an alternative. If we could offer alternatives, we could get less traffic off our roads, which is less money on maintenance of roads, the less need for new roads.
I think I could maybe answer about the
And I
gondola.
didn't, and I assumed that, but I didn't want to put you on the spot.
Well, that's okay. I'm here on the spot. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the study, and it's a good study. It's something we haven't completely taken off the table, but Clearwater's not interested in funding that. It would be a P3 kind of thing, it'd be a private partnership that could look at it, but there's so many unanswered questions about where it's coming in on the mainland. And right now, we've got like a chess game going with properties, and the county's moving out, and
Right.
I mean, we have opportunities in the future, so we're gonna probably look at it in the future as something, but the city won't end up paying for it. It'll have to be a private opportunity. And we do have alternate, we've got the water taxi and waterborne transportation that we're hoping will pick up, and it'll get people to park downtown and then take, waterborne transportation to the beach and back. It really hadn't gotten off the ground yet, but it's a great concept, and we're moving forward with it through Fort Pinellas, as well as Clearwater and Dunedin, so.
Because they do later. Because also, if they're coming by car, and this is going to sound terrible, but it also puts them in control. And I know that we battle with Orlando as well on our tourism destinations, but if they come into Tampa Airport and we've got a way to get them to the beaches, there's a higher probability that it will stay a destination instead of Clearwater and Orlando and somewhere else. And so it's an opportunity to capture economic tourism dollars.
Absolutely.
If we can keep them there, and then makes Clearwater Beach a lot more walkable. And it's not just Clearwater, right? It can have an impact all over coastal communities on the beach, so, okay.
And I'll just add to further answer your question. We have a really successful park and ride program with Clearwater that they support, and we're actively working on that right now for this spring break. And we put out extra buses, and that's been really successful. And then PSTA is also working on with the ferry on being a partner to the ferry service.
Great.
And then, just as a reminder, we plan for premium transit services with the goal of reducing travel time for riders, improving the customer experience, and then supporting redevelopment. And this is just a little list of strategies that can be used to implement a premium transit project. Now, this could be full-blown BRT, like the Sunrunner, which has most of these, or it could be something like a limited express service that has more frequency and limited stops. So it can be this is like a menu of options that you can pick from. And we've already talked about this, but right now PSTA is kicking off a study for the phased approach for all 19, again, starting with incremental approach of limited stops with increased frequency in the peak. So just in summary, we have our successful Sunrunner that was implemented in 2022. We're looking at the potential for express service on 34th Street South in 2025, the express lanes, the express bus and the express lanes in 2029, and furthering the Alt 19 premium transit service evaluation. So with that, I'll turn it back to the chair for any questions.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
You're welcome.
The potential 34th Street Express service in 2025, I do think, and it was brought up at the ABC Alliance, the Alliance for Bayway Isles. They're having FDOT and the City of St. Petersburg present to talk about transportation issues along 34th.
Mhm.
I was wondering if that was on your radar to attend that meeting on, I think it's March 12th.
It is.
You are there,
It is
okay.
thanks to you telling me about it,
I
yes.
sure did, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that I publicly wanted to invite you because that, at the last meeting, raised a lot of questions and concerns. And so I just wanted to make sure that we express what the timeline looks like to those residents. So
Okay.
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yep.
Could you go back to the map? So it was actually Commissioner Schulman that suggested that we give some kind of presentation like this based on the last board meeting, if you recall. There were some citizens that came to the meeting. And I think I have the quote exactly right from one of the citizens, that Brad Miller has a plan to take away lanes all over the county
Oh, yeah,
on many corridors.
right.
So this is a little bit of a defensive presentation here. It's not Brad Miller. These are the plans. They have been studied by many organizations. This map is Ford Pinellas' map. And there's been, as Heather just described, many different discussions of US 19 and the interstate and these corridors. This takes a very long time, and the biggest takeaway is there is so much public involvement. Like we're talking about now on 34th Street, there is this ABC community meeting that we'll attend on March 12th. And then I got a call yesterday from FDOT that Representative Cheney has scheduled a meeting she would like to have with St. Petersburg and Ford Pinellas and FDOT and PSTA, also in March, after the legislative session is over. Yeah, so again, we were just talking yesterday, if something has changed down there in the community and it's decided by, again, PSA doesn't own any roads in the county. If the community decides not to go ahead with the planned lanes, that's okay. We will still provide the service. All these projects are gonna change over time, yeah.
I think it's important, from what we heard from those several individuals, that we were talking about the alternate 19 plans, and essentially it jumped right into, well, now all these lanes are gonna be taken away, you know, with the DAT lanes and so on and so forth, but that's not the plan. You know, and I try to make it abundantly clear that this is looking at, you know, LX type of service, which does not take up, you know, the lane, and it actually adds time, it actually detracts time, decreases time on a long route like 18. And an example is when I used to ride Route 52LX from Grand Central to downtown Clearwater to attend a meeting at the courthouse that I did monthly, and it saved 20 minutes off of that trip, you know, just with the limited stops. And the same thing can happen with 18, but we're not taking up a lane, we're not dedicating a lane for that. It's just simple pull over and, you know, pick up people. And I just hope that we can get that point across, that this is not, you know, lawman the lanes away from everybody, that we're just making a more efficient route for that vehicle with limited stops. And I think folks should be thankful for that are driving on the road, because there's nothing worse than getting behind a bus and not being able to get around it, and it's, you know, so
Well, I think one of the things that's really gonna show people what the potential is for the Advantage Alton 19 plan is when the Sunrunner has a few years under its belt, and you start to see the opportunity zones popping up.
Yeah.
What an opportunity for business along the, and people don't think about that, they're just thinking about, oh, they took a lane away, but when they start to see all the businesses that are popping up along that route, because it's premium transit, I'm really, really happy about the Advantage 19 plan, because that's something we've been talking about a long time, and that too will make opportunity zones all the way down from Clearwater to St. Pete. So all these things up here are good, yes.
Okay, and in the residents' defense at that meeting that day, their concerns were extremely valid because they had also received a presentation the same day of all of the new apartments and developments that were going to be going up. So the first flag for them was, we're having all of these new people move in, and now we're getting ready to have a similar transit system to the Sunrunner on First, where legitimately, no, the streets did not narrow, but they did lose a lane, because you can't drive on it unless you're turning left. So hopefully, I'm a visual person, that when we make those explanations and we have those conversations with the residents, that they see visually what that is going to look like, so that they can, I don't want to say lose the concept, but be put a little bit more at ease, that they really aren't going to lose a lane per se. But at that same meeting, they did receive a presentation, because I was there, that all the new developments and then apartments that are being built along that same route. So now you think of immediately overcrowding, a lot of people, bumper to bumper traffic. Because let's be real, we are on the highways every single day. We see what traffic is like now. What used to take me 20 minutes to get here is now taking me 30, 45. So, we can't convince people that, our roads are not crowded more so today than they were 2 and 3 years ago. So I'm hoping on March 12th with that, and don't be in defense, Mr. Brad. But yeah, I think that part would be, it will be beneficial if they see something visually as to what it is, because I'm sure they're not the only residents that had that same concern.
Where's that held, Deb?
Well, it rotates because there are a lot of different condo associations.
Right, but on the 12th,
I will send the info. Did I send it to you yet? I'll send it to you, and I'll ask Brad if you can send it to everybody.
Okay.
And just to piggyback those comments, in Dunedin, we've been talking about our Complete Street project, one of our major corridors, and shrinking it down. And we haven't even broken ground on that yet, but we're already seeing economic development, redevelopment in preparation of that. I know we saw that in St. Pete. Just talking about the Sunrunner, you start to see development happening. So it's just, if you can show them the visual, and then the challenge is okay, we have more people coming in and moving down, what are we going to do about it? And it doesn't have to be roads. It has to be multifaceted, right? We talked about gondolas, and it's just diversifying your transportation system. And if they're going to talk about a lane elimination, then let's also talk about the data.
Well, that's something that,
Because there's a feeling, right? And that's a
Yeah.
natural fear that you're taking a lane away. Oh my God! But if data is saying that's not true, right? Or the opposite effect, when you expand lanes, it doesn't make the short term. Yeah, you might get to work faster wherever you're going, but the long term effect, those lanes fill up as well, and so it doesn't. So adding more lanes isn't an answer. And if reducing lanes doesn't negatively impact, then maybe that is the process we should be going down, especially when it adds to the economic development. And that's local business that's building up around there. That's money that stays in the community, so it makes communities wealthier. Right? You don't have chains coming in to where that money, it looks good up front, retail, but then all that money goes to the head office. You don't see it. Anyway.
There's been a significant increase in the value of the properties along First Avenues North and South. Significant increase, upwards to 40% now that the Sunrunner, actually even before the Sunrunner was put into place, that things started getting bought up, and you drive down there now, and there's not much property to be bought.
Show them and say, why don't you want this?
If you're close to that, you know, within walking distance of that route, you got some money right there.
Any other questions, Heather? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, does any committee member have any other business to bring before the committee?
Nope.
Okay,
Lucky donut.
well, our next meeting is March 20th at 10:30, and this meeting is adjourned.
Nice job.
Good seeing everybody.
We got a
Just
new
trying to bring
chair.
it up for you to give you the visual. But we're talking about
Well,
Beverly Street.
we'll see.
How's Ryan doing?
And
On the agenda.
challenge.
What's that?
How's Ryan doing?
There are
You know,
three-
they're all neck and neck, so it's gonna be
I think we
really.
should have-
I wanted to get a little breather.